So how is it like playing a hard dance show, say like in Australia, Europe, in the States? Like, are they all super different? I'm assuming from coming from the Netherlands to the States, obviously it's not very dominant out here, but like,
That's right.
let's
Yeah.
say from Europe and Australia, we've never been to hard dance shows out there. So I guess, what are the crowds like? Are they very different?
Yeah, very different. Like, so obviously in the Netherlands, because this is very much their music, they're switched on and they know every edit, every pre-release stuff. They're really, really like on the ball. It's a kind of, I think of the fans here in the Netherlands sort of like a laser. And when you're like in the beam, perfect. If you're side of the beam or whatever, it can be a little bit interesting, but the intensity when you're in the beam is like really, really intense. It's really cool and very rewarding. Australia is another, I would say it's the second bastion of hard dance in the world, because we've had a huge culture there for hard music for 20 years. You know, like when Dutch hardcore was a thing, you know, back, you know, in the early 90s, the Aussies cottoned onto it as well. And while there hasn't been that many exports in the same way as there has been in the Netherlands, and obviously the market is a lot smaller and we're quite far removed, there are still some huge festivals that happen. Like the one that I just played was like a 15,000 people festival, only hard dance, one stage, Epic from HSU, massive. And before COVID, we had loads of these happening. So to play to the Aussies, besides the fact that it's just a home crowd, they're also really switched on and really passionate for hard dance, and they know a lot of the songs like that has just been released or about to be released. Now, the difference between playing in the States is they like the vibe, but they're not as educated, which is good and it's bad. It means that they're less critical, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So you can experiment and be a little bit more genre agnostic. Whereas here, if you play drum and bass in the middle of a hardcore set, people will stop dancing, maybe boo. They won't throw bottles, but they'll just be like, "What the hell is this? We came here for hardcore. You've switched it up." No, and even if it's for a couple of minutes, they'll get pretty upset. Whereas that's completely different in the States. They feel the music rather than they know the music, and so the benefit of that is that if they're with you as a performer, then they're really with you, and they'll just go with you. They don't care too much in the same way that the Dutch people do about the genre and what you're playing. So pros and cons. The energy is different in terms of how they dance and what they do. Here, they have a very specific dance. They dance the Haken kind of thing. In Australia, they have their own variation of it. Whereas in the States, they don't do that dance. They sort of just dance, like interpret it in their own way. You'll get a handful of people that are educated that will try and Haken, or some people like way out the back room, they'll try and do a jump style kind of thing. A couple of shufflers here and there, but for the most part, they're not as like, this is how it has to be kind of thing, which I think is refreshing. And it's really exciting because I like to play a huge sort of palette of different styles of hard dance, or just music that's energetic. So be it drum and bass or dubstep or hard trap or like donk, Russian hard bassy kind of stuff. I try and fit it all in my set because I look for music that is energetic rather than specifically within a genre. And so I can get away with that a lot more and push the boundaries a lot further when I play in the States. And of course in Australia as well, because it's kind of like a home crowd, so they just go with me. But here in the Netherlands, they're way more like in the beam, laser focused.